Magandang umaga, MPC. Welcome sa ating weekly economic briefing. To introduce our guests, we have Finance Director, Attorney Nina Asuncion. Good morning, ma'am.
Magandang umaga sa lahat at welcome po sa ating weekly economic press briefing co-hosted by the Economic Development Cluster and the PCOO. Isa sa layunin ng 0 to 10-point socio-economic agenda ng Duterte administration ang rural at value chain development. Nais ng pamahalaan na makamit ang layuning ito hindi lang sa pamamagitan ng pagpapalago ng productivity ng ating agricultural at rural enterprises, ngunit pati na rin sa pagpapaangat ng ating rural tourism. Sa ilalim ng liderato ni Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat, naging layunin ng Department of Tourism na ipakilala at ipagmalaki ang Pilipinas bilang isang premier sustainable tourism destination. Ayon sa datos ng Department of Trade and Industry, nasa 7.2 million ang naitalang international tourist arrivals sa kabuuan ng 2018. Ito ay mas mataas ng 7.7% sa nakaraang taon. Ngayong 2019, patuloy na ikinakampanya ng Department of Tourism ang tagline na It's More Fun in the Philippines para sa pagpapalakas ng industriya ng turismo. Isinasagawa din ang mga rehabilitasyon ng ilang mga sikat na destinasyon sa bansa upang siguraduhin ang mahigpit na implementasyon at compliance sa environmental standards. Ngayong umaga ay makakasama po natin si Assistant Secretary Roberto Robbie Alabado III ng Department of Tourism. This is the first time DOT is joining the Malacañang press briefing. So, ibabahagi ni ASEC Robbie ang updates ng sektor ng turismo at sa kanilang mga proyekto tungo sa sustainable tourism. Sir?
Good morning to the Malacañang Press Corps. The Department of Tourism, or DOT, is participating in the Malacañang economic briefing for the very first time, and we're thankful to the Presidential Communications Operations Office and the Department of Finance for this opportunity to discuss the strides our department has made in the last couple of years. It is my privilege to represent Department of Tourism Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat. We all know that she's an economist by training, so I'm sure she'll want me to go straight to the numbers. We're happy to present the latest figures. For the first 5 months of 2019, 3,489,270 tourists visited the Philippines. That's a 9.76% increase from the 3,178,984 international tourist arrivals over the same period in 2018. From January 1 to May 31, 2019, the country's top 5 source markets were Korea, China, USA, Japan, and Taiwan. Arrivals from Korea stood at 788,530, China at 733,769, USA at 472,469, and Japan at 281,988. Tourist arrivals from Taiwan had a remarkable double-digit growth rate at 27.24%, with 128,986 tourists coming in as of May 2019. May 2019 was also a record-setting month because tourist arrivals were the highest reported by DOT in terms of month-per-month arrivals at 15.62% growth rate. In May 2018, there were 537,743 arrivals, which grew to 621,719 in May 2019. This makes us optimistic that we will not only achieve the growth target for 2019 as dictated by DOT's National Tourism Development Plan 2016 to 2022, but we will positively surpass 2018's numbers, a landmark year for Philippine tourism. For foreign visitor arrivals in 2018, reaching an all-time high of 7.2 million or 8.27% greater than the 2017 inbound figures of 6.62 million, our country is on its way to being a must-visit destination in Asia. Tourism's direct contribution to our economy is increasing too. Based on the latest data provided by the Philippine Statistics Authority, or PSA, earlier this month, the tourism sector contributed 12.7% to the country's gross domestic product, GDP, in 2018, 0.5% more than its 12.5% share in 2017. According to PSA, inbound tourism expenditure, which refers to the expenditure of non-resident visitors, both foreign visitors and Filipinos permanently residing abroad within the Philippines, ranked third among the biggest export items in 2018, after miscellaneous services at 31.5% and semiconductors at 22.8%. We are proud to note that today, tourism is a major driver of our economy. Its contribution worth 2.2 trillion pesos, an increase of 14.3% from 1.9 trillion pesos in 2017. As one of its trickle-down social effects, the tourism industry's boom has also encouraged more people to travel consistently. In fact, the same PSA report shows that domestic tourism has significantly increased in the last year by 15.1%. In 2018, the numbers of Filipinos traveling domestically reached more than 111.3 million, compared to the more than 96 million in 2017. These numbers translate to domestic spending of 3.2 trillion pesos last year, an increase of 21% from the 2.6 trillion pesos in 2017. The domestic tourism expenditure represents 24.9% of the household final consumption expenditure, or HFCE, in 2018. These economic numbers are exciting, but the real purpose of why the government is working hard to push these numbers year after year is for the Filipino people. Tourism in 2018 was responsible for 5.4 million jobs in 2018. Livelihoods spurred by tourism have a ripple effect as workers are able to support families, put their children to school, and give them a secure future. Tourism is also a driver of development. Connectivity plays a big role in driving the industry's success, as tourists need convenient gateways and good roads to be able to travel to and within the Philippines. DOT has worked closely with the Department of Transportation to open 12 international gateways that service the 49 tourism development areas in the Philippines, and 8 have already undergone rehabilitation and improvements. 4 months ago, we hosted Roots Asia 2019, the biggest gathering of route planners and network developers of air carriers in Asia. Our hosting helped strengthen Cebu's connectivity and positioning as a gateway to the southern regions of the Philippines, as well as a major transfer hub to other countries. With the work our DOT Routes Development team has put in, and as a sign of the robust tourism sector, we now have 1.69 million international air seats as of July 2019, which is a growth of 60.71% versus 2018 of 1.49 million international air seats. Of this figure, 1.15 million were mounted by foreign and local carriers direct to international gateways outside of Manila. This facilitates the decongestion of the airports here in Metro Manila. The Philippines also hosted the Pacific Asia Travel Association Annual Summit 2019, which brought together international thought leaders, industry shapers, and senior decision makers who are professionally engaged within the Asia Pacific region. And just recently, we successfully concluded the hosting of CAPA, or the Center for Aviation Low-Cost Carrier in North Asia Summit, that gathered more than 280 senior executives and industry experts who discussed the key challenges and strategic issues on the LCC industry in North Asia. We've already are known for being warm, sincere, and welcoming people who know how to have fun. Our vision is for the Philippines to also become known as a quality destination. Quality means sustainability, and as Secretary Bernadette Romulo-Puyat would always remind us, sustainable tourism is at the core of the development principle of DOT. We are open to the world and invite everyone to invest in our economic potential, but we cannot accept progress without the inclusive development of all our stakeholders. It's the only way we can truly create quality destinations in the region. Sustainability means we keep our oceans and mountains clean, promote our heritage sites as the nation's treasures, and create destinations that will not only build communities, but will also be enjoyed by the next generation. Boracay is our model for our sustainability program. We strictly enforce the no compliance, no accreditation policy on the island. Accommodations need to be accredited before it can operate. Quality accommodations ensure that tourists will have a quality experience while in the Philippines. Based on the updated list of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, DNR, the Department of Interior and Local Government, DILG, and the Department of Tourism, DOT, we'd like to announce that as of July 10, 2019, there are now 356 accredited establishments with 13,142 rooms. It doesn't stop in the island of Boracay. We're closely monitoring tourist destinations such as El Nido and Coron in Palawan, Panglao in Bohol, and Siargao. In fact, the Secretary just signed the creation of an intersectoral DOT Technical Working Group via Department Order 2019-64, which was organized to develop and implement action plans in these tourist areas. These are some initiatives we've developed to show our commitment to sustainable tourism. We've boldly asked to host the United Nations World Tourism Organization General Assembly in 2021 and the World Travel and Tourism Council, or WTTC, Global Summit in the same year. This move allows us to tell the world that we're confident in taking a leadership role when it comes to sustainability. 2021 will be a very significant time, not only for the Philippines, but for the whole world. In that year, we shall be celebrating half a millennium, a quincentennial anniversary of our discovery by the Western world, when the explorers of the old world found themselves in the shores of a majestic island, the pearl of the Orient Seas, Las Islas Filipinas. The hosting of these prestigious tourism events strengthens our position as one of the Southeast Asia's meetings, incentives, in conventions and exhibitions, or MICE hubs. We're also pushing to enforce DOT's Farm Tourism Program by 2020. The Farm Development Act of 2016 institutionalizes the farm tourism programs and opens new perspectives for inclusive and sustainable agricultural and rural development. It also aligns nicely with the promotion of food tourism, which highlights the unique culinary traditions of our regions. DOT's English as a Second Language, or ESL, program continues to attract students. Cebu is the top ESL destination, with our top markets being Korea, Japan, Thailand, China, Vietnam, Russia, Spain, and Italy. Our cruise tourism roadmap allows us to reach areas that are normally difficult to visit, such as the Kalangaman Island in Leyte, 100 Islands in Pangasinan, or the Kayangan Lake in Coron, Palawan. To sustain the development of local scuba diving industry and position the Philippines as a premier diving destination in the world, the Department of Tourism is organizing the first Philippine International Dive Expo, or FIDEX, in Manila this September. The event will gather renowned scientists, marine conservationists, underwater photographers, and dive travel trade to network and exchange ideas on sustainable dive tourism practices. All these offerings are supported by DOT's marketing efforts. At the start of the year, we refreshed the It's More Fun in the Philippines brand to promote our advocacy on sustainability. We've created content that is crowdsourced from local and international tourists around the Philippines. This has resulted in a campaign that's low on carbon footprint, as traditional tourism campaigns produce a lot of carbon emissions when filming. And in doing so, we have created something all the more genuine, since we are featuring real experiences and emotions of our tourists. Thank you for giving the Department of Tourism a platform to report about the development of the tourism sector. We can't wait for you to be part of the fun.
Would you like to ask questions first before we proceed to the video presentation, sir? Or video presentation muna?
Questions?
Questions? Okay, Ina, please.
Hi, sir. My question is on the rehabilitation of tourist destinations. You mentioned El Nido, Panglao, and Siargao. These were already identified months ago. Ano na po yung status on the monitoring, and are we looking at a massive rehabilitation in these areas similar to what we saw in Boracay?
Yes, these areas were identified with Boracay, and at the same time, the regional offices have been assigned to strictly monitor the establishments there and to coordinate with the agencies that are actually our partners also in the Boracay rehabilitation. So we at the DOT right now, as was mentioned earlier, we have a intersectoral, that's within DOT, group or technical working group that is now going down on the ground and talking to the local government units and stakeholders. And we are also coordinating with the various regional offices of DNR and DILG on the ground so that we can implement also what we had in Boracay. So we are poised to also implement the no compliance, no permit policy in those areas.
How soon, if ever, sir? I mean, this early, can we already say that, yes, a similar rehabilitation na kasing big ng what happened to Boracay is actually going to happen? Or are we still assessing if it merits? I mean, the status in the other sites merits a similar rehab?
Yes. When we say Boracay was a closure. However, the secretary has agreed that it's not going to be a closure, but we will be more on specific on those who are illegally operating and not abiding to the government regulations. So we have examples right now. I think in El Nido, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources has closed establishments that were found violating the environmental laws of the area. So that would be the actions that have been taken for the past few months.
Thank you, Ina, MPC. Jinky.
Hi, sir. Sir, paki-explain lang po further. Hindi ko nakuha po yung about the expo, first ever expo that we'll be holding on September?
Yes.
Was it? Okay, sir.
Okay. The Philippines is actually a top destination in terms of diving. Our resources here in the Philippines, we have the simply the best underwater photography site, which is in Batangas, Anilao. And we have sardine runs in Cebu, or if you want turtles, if you want corals, we are part of the most diverse underwater ecosystem in the world. And for the past few years, we have had some events here in the DRT in the Philippines. However, this time we want to have our own expo that will showcase our local destinations, that will showcase our local partners in the dive industries. So we are going to be creating, pardon the pun, a wave of events that would allow divers to come to the Philippines, sellers to come to the Philippines, and buyers also to come to the Philippines so that we can showcase what's here in the Philippines. As of here in our area, they say that Indonesia is the top dive area, but we are fast catching up. And our sites here, our dive sites here, are always in the bucket list of divers, especially in Europe.
Do we have a specific date for this, sir?
So far, we're looking at September right now, but we will be announcing the specific date once it has been finalized.
Another matter lang, sir. Sir, of course, nalaman naman tong mga nakikita natin sa internet, online, yung tong mga artista na somehow naging advocate din ng turismo. Paano nakakatulong ang mga artista, sir, sa turismo ngayon? Why are you like getting some people to be advocate, like all those local talents?
Yeah. I think the Department of Tourism right now is getting a groundswell of support from all sectors. We have a lot of companies co-branding with us. We have a lot of support from the airlines, to the malls, to the telecoms, to food products, fast food, lahat po. They are volunteering their services to the Department of Tourism because they believe in our brand. It's more fun in the Philippines. And it's very exciting to see that even TV personalities and or showbiz personalities are also showing their support to the programs of the Department of Tourism. With all of these exposure coming up, as I had earlier reported, more than 111 million trips made by Filipinos last year. And with this support, we're expecting that domestic tourism will further be boosted by the support of these influencers on our local people. Mahal nila ang Pilipinas. At nakikita nila when we talk to them, they were seeing the best of the Philippines by going around. So we want to share it to the whole world.
Baka mag-endorse si
Thank you,
Jinky.
sir.
Salamat, Jinky. Balikan lang natin yung video presentation. After ng video presentation, balik tayo sa Q&A. Okay. Asek, okay na yung
Yes,
presentation.
please.
Hey you. Sorry you couldn't make it to the Philippines, but it's okay. We haven't been up to much. There's just no escaping the heat. All we do is take showers. always on the move, yet we keep getting lost. We can't wait for the day to end, so we can just stay in at night. I'm kidding! We're having a blast. We haven't stopped eating and partying all day. Plus, we've made a bunch of friends. The only thing that would make it better is if you were here too.
Balik tayo sa Q&A. Acer, you were raising your hand.
Good morning, Asik. Sir, Manila Mayor Isko Moreno is getting a lot of praise for what he's doing to Manila. He's clearing decongested streets, Divisoria in particular, and Quiapo. But some groups are questioning the manner by which the vendors are being dispersed, whether they're actually being relocated properly. Do they have livelihood? Because we know that the DOT is also promoting the people. Diba? We keep saying that aside from the places, the food, the reason why people keep coming here is because of the people. So what do you think, sir? What are your thoughts about these clearing beautification operations? Is it a good thing because there's less traffic, less illegal vendors, or is it a bad thing because it also might have some impact to tourism and the people, the vendors' livelihood? Thank you.
Yes, okay. Manila has always been a premier destination of tourists. When tourists come here, immediately upon landing, they go to several sites here in Manila. They go to Intramuros, they go to Luneta, Rizal Park, they go to Binondo, and some even, especially Asians, they would go to Divisoria. These are areas where it's simply like a shopping paradise for some of our Southeast Asian tourists. So the efforts of Manila Mayor Isko Moreno is very much appreciated in making the areas more accessible to tourists, because we are aiming to provide our tourists a more diverse tourist offerings here in Manila. So just imagine if our tourists can walk around the streets of Manila and at the same time enjoy the food in Binondo, enjoy the shopping in Divisoria at a more, let's say, organized manner. Now for the issue on the relocation of the vendors, the secretary has ordered or instructed the regional office of NCR, the Intramuros administration, and the NCPD to work closely with the mayor's office so that we can coordinate our efforts. And this is a local thing, the relocation of our street vendors. But as we have always said, that the more tourists that we can provide access to Divisoria, to Binondo, and Intramuros, the more economic activities that can be spurred in those local destinations. So we will be having our coordination meetings with the Office of the Mayor of Manila, and we will be updating on this in the future.
Acer, follow up. MPC, question. Joseph.
I don't want to rain on your parade, but yung sa Boracay rehabilitation, sir, no? There are reports during the rainy, may mga days na umuulan and medyo bumabaha siya ng mabilis. Can you explain why that is so?
For the rains, I think the total rehabilitation of the infrastructures, like the drainage plans and the streets, the road projects there, will be finished by the end of the year. So as of now, we can see that the infrastructure projects of Boracay are still ongoing. So we hope that by the year end, we can have a complete infrastructure implementation of the infrastructure programs on that. So we will see streets will have the proper storm drainage systems. So let's wait for the end of the year because that was the targeted time for the completion of all infrastructure projects in Boracay.
But you do have that rain drainage system, no?
Yes.
Sa plan, no?
Yes, the DPWH when they plan roads, the storm drainage systems are always a part of it right now.
Could you give us an update on the status of the project? I mean, how many percent na finished? Parang observation namin dun is, I mean, no offense meant to the DPWH, but they're kind of slow.
Yes. Okay. So maybe we can have a report on that because it was under Secretary Arturo Boncato, who is our head of that Boracay task force. So maybe get back on you as to the accomplishment report and such.
Can we have that report, please? For Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. MPC, question. MPC, wala na. RJ,
Sir, you mentioned that you expect to exceed the target of 8.2 million by the end of the year. By how many percent, perhaps?
Actually, we're very optimistic. But for the figures on how many percent are we going to exceed it, because we were calculating our gains this past 5 months, and we are just as you have seen the video, we are relaunching the It's More Fun the Philippines, and the video that you've seen earlier is now out in the international market. So with the continuing increase of our arrivals from last year, we are hoping that with the aggressive campaign that the Tourism Promotions Board and the Department of Tourism is currently doing, we have remarkable increases in some market segments like Europe, China, and Korea, so that we can pull up the growth rate further than maybe and reach, even exceed the 8.2 million.
Thank you.
question, MPC. No more. Oh, well. Joseph,
I'm not sure if it was part of your report, but can we get the statistics on the number of arrivals and the nationalities as of whatever?
Okay. Yes. Okay, so
And I'll just copy na lang. Sorry.
no. But it's still about the top source market. So we are reiterating that the top source market is Korea. Next is China, then US, Japan. Okay, so and Taiwan. These are they have contributed a lot to our area. So we in the Department of Tourism and the Tourism Promotions Board, we are also doing our follow-ups so that the tourists there, it's the continuing interest of these tourists of these nationalities to come to the Philippines that we have to really push. We know that we have more destinations that they can enjoy, so we are here to provide them more options on why they should return to the Philippines.
thank you. May pahabol si Jinky, pagtapos si Celerina.
Sir, last na lang po. Sir, I do understand that we are relaunching the It's More Fun in the Philippines. Why is it, sir, that we are still using the It's More Fun in the Philippines? We cannot choose a new tagline, or what is the stand of tourism on this?
Yeah. When we talked with our stakeholders and even our fellow NTOs, the National Tourism Organizations in the ASEAN region, they love it's more fun in the Philippines. And one NTO said, why didn't we think of that? Because it has gained traction in our campaign, and it would be very difficult if we would change our branding and our slogan from time to time. Because if you're going to look at our neighbors, they have been using their own logos and taglines for the past decades, and it has improved the recall of that brand. So it's more fun in the Philippines. I think even our stakeholders, our private stakeholders, from the hotel business to the tour operators, they love the logo, and it's easy for them to just inject the natural fun that Filipinos can always put in their tours. Thank you.
Celerina.
Good morning, sir. Sir, I'm just wondering, do you have any statistics like sa arrival sa Mindanao and tourist arrival? And if ever, by how much at some particular areas?
Okay. So for the Mindanao region, I have to get back on you to get the exact figures on such. But in terms of Davao, we're looking at, they have new flights in Davao. So that they have that, like we have Doha, and last year we had Hong Kong coming in. So we see that there's a renewed interest in establishing direct routes to our international gateway in Mindanao. And the Department of Tourism, the routes development team, is busy campaigning, talking to all of these carriers from China, from Korea, to consider the Davao International Airport as one of the destinations. So we in the Department of Tourism are busy talking to all of these chartered flights, to the airlines, to establish more routes going to Mindanao. And I think that would be a key action that is needed so that we can have more people visit Mindanao.
Sir, does the DOT discourage tourists, especially these foreigners, in going to like central or western part of Mindanao where there's this problem on terrorism and peace and order problem?
Um, Actually, our regional offices are very busy campaigning of introducing the when you say Western Mindanao, Zamboanga. Zamboanga is a very, very beautiful place. And even the local government units, I've seen some of the videos of Tawi-Tawi. That's one of in my islands in my bucket list that I would really would like to go. And the regional offices are really doing very good efforts in introducing to the people maybe here from Luzon and the Visayas all of the good parts of what the destinations have to offer.
So you're encouraging people to go to those troubled areas in Mindanao?
If you go to Zamboanga, I don't think that it's a troubled area. I go there for bird watching. I visit the area, and they have a. If we have Intramuros here, you should see the old forts that they have in Zamboanga. It's a city where you would see the interplay of the Muslim culture, the American heritage, then the Spanish heritage, and I would encourage our Filipino tourists to visit Zamboanga, and you will be pleasantly surprised on how nice the pink beaches of Santa Cruz Island is. If you haven't seen a pink sand beach, then Zamboanga is the place to go to.
RJ.
Sir, what specifically are we doing to paint a better image of Mindanao as a tourist destination?
For the Department of Tourism, we are showcasing the rich culture of Mindanao. If you go to Lake Cebu, you would see our indigenous people, the Tiboli tribe, who have been there for, if you want to see the original culture of the Filipinos, go there. They have been relatively untouched by the Hispanic influence. And if you would like to taste the variety of dishes of the Muslim tribes, from the Maranaos to the Tausug to the Magindanaoans, Mindanao is always a good place to explore for culture. Like, I just read yesterday in the papers that Kadayawan Festival of Davao is already has just been launched by the city mayor, Mayor Sara Duterte. And we are also busy campaigning on the dive sites that we have in northern Mindanao, especially Camiguin. And if you're into history, Dakak is nice, and Dipolog nearby is also where Jose Rizal was exiled. So it's full of attractions and destinations. Now, we would like all Filipinos actually to come visit Mindanao and see another culture. Malapit na rin po ang durian season. Kaya po, ako ng taga Davao, I would invite you to come to Davao and Central Mindanao, Cotabato, North Cotabato, so that we can have your feast of durian dun po.
Thank you, RJ. Last question from Julie Baisa. RJ, mic please. Salamat.
Hi sir, I understand nag-focus po tayo sa promotion ng beaches and other. Paano naman po yung cultural side? For example, meron po bang mga sinusuport na expo para sa mga weavers? Nung mga, for example, sa Lamitan, Basilan, meron po sila mga weavers na talagang magagaling and humingi po sila ng tulong from the government para ma-promote yung mga products nila.
Yes, okay. So, Lamitan is part of the newly formed BARM. Okay, so perhaps the DOT can also coordinate with the regional government in that area so that we can support each other, which the culture of our Yakans, our Tausug, they have some of the most beautiful weaves that we have. And if you saw before the It's More Fun in the Philippines, the weaves of the logo, actually it is Mindanao inspired. Yakan po yung inspiration namin dati on making that. So yes, we are busy promoting. It's not just the culture, but also the materials that we have been using. So we are looking at the tinalak, the various weaves that our local tribes in Mindanao, not only in Mindanao, but also in the Cordillera, in Ilocos, these are the materials that our Filipino citizens have to embrace as part of our culture.
Maraming salamat, MPC. That ends our weekly economic briefing. Maraming salamat, Assistant Secretary Roberto Alabado, Finance Director Attorney Nina Asuncion, and Tourism Director Ina Sara Loyola. Miss. Balik tayo sa studios ng PTV4 and Radyo Pilipinas.
Okay.